All right. So, hey, let's actually talk about let's talk about what you created, the gym.
Ooh, Kinetic Studio, my little baby.
Right. Right. And I mean, you started from zero, started from idea, and then you evolved it and evolved it. And then you made it into something that people can come to, something that's actually existing. And one thing I know about stuff like that is that most people are really talkers. And the people who go out and materialize things from nothing, like it's hard to find. But I want to know, like, what was some of your biggest challenges that came through that for you that you had to overcome?
First thing was money. I mean,
Yeah,
like investing wise, right? We have a huge 4,000 square foot space.
Yeah.
There was no equipment. There was not the right flooring. There's members, all those different things that you need to like do marketing. So that in my mind was going to be the biggest challenge. It actually ended up coming a huge blessing. So it was like, hey, we believe in you. Make this happen. I was like, okay, I can't say no.
Yeah.
You're going to back me just because I have this idea and you see the passion there. But then the doubt, like, well, how are we going to pay the next month rent? We got the first month, but how do we do the next month? And how are we going to get members? And who's going to teach all these classes? Just the schedule and building and those little things. And I think having a business partner is very helpful because when I would start to worry, she would come in and pump me up. And then if there was something that she was worrying about, I would go in and pump her up. But one, just being afraid that I wasn't going to be able to come up with money to be able to do the next step, pay rent or buy equipment or whatever it was. And I think the hours, I guess, that you have to put in, not really understanding that this is going to be a long process, right? This is going to take more than 40 hours a week. And it's different. It's not like just 8 or 10 or 12 straight hours. It's waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning like, oh, I got to write this down. This is going to be so being able to say no to like social activities and like, I can't go out, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to make it to that event because I have to put all my energy into building this thing. And yeah, time, money, these kind of like intangible sort of things. The fear of like, is this going to actually work?
Yeah.
Is this going to come out the way that it's in my head this way? Is it actually going to come out and, be built the way that we see it in our minds? And we just went with it anyways, though. And then there's doubters, there's haters. Unfortunately, sometimes it's the people that are closest to you. So I think that's a big challenge because you have to see that and then just kind of keep on going where you think like, wow, I thought we were really close or I thought we were friends. And there's maybe a little
bit of
jealousy maybe, or like,
or people stop talking to you as much as they.
Well, so you didn't come to my thing, so I'm not going to come to your thing. And it's like, I didn't go to your 28th birthday party. This is a grand opening of a studio. That's different. You're going to have another birthday. I'm only having one grand opening. So those kind of things where you have to see who people really are because you're chasing your things so intensely and maybe they're not. And your success, hinders them or whatever. It's, people just kind of, I hate to say jealous, but it makes them just have to look at themselves and be like, whoa, okay, I probably should start working on that thing I said I was going to be doing 5 years ago because Kiola's doing it like right now. So, the money thing, the time thing, social life, just like being able to sacrifice the social life, getting over the fear of if this was put on you to do, it's going to be fine, right? Like if this calling was on you, the money's going to come from somewhere. So you can't worry about it. And if those people can't understand that you're making this sacrifice for something bigger, then that's okay.
Right.
They'll come back around.
Right.
Or somebody else will come around that, does support you.
So because I feel like a lot of people deal with that. A lot of people deal with, and it doesn't even have to be something as big as starting a gym. It could be something on a smaller scale, but for the fact that you're making a move, but my question is, what have you felt that you've had to do? I know for me, I just had to distance myself. For you, what are some of the things you've done? And I'm sure you said it's some of your family members. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you have to do? I mean, I'm sure you still have to see them as well.
Yeah. I would not talk about it as much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even didn't invite them to things that were around the studio or events that I would have loved for them to be at, workshops or classes or whatever it was. And I had to just face the reality that your family and friends are not going to be the ones who build your business. Same thing with, and actually my business partner told me this, something she learned in a company she was with, is that the people that were there on day one that got you from maybe 0 to 50 are not going to be the ones that get you from 50 to 100. There's going to be a whole new tribe or crowd that comes in. New people. And you might have one that's been there since day one or a couple, but I had to just accept that they're not going to be the ones that, my mom and dad are not going to build my business for me. They'll support it and they'll come to little things here and there. And my sisters will support it, you know, here and there. But that's not going to be who takes my company to the top. You just have to accept that. It's just reality. And I don't know, yes, distancing from friends who showed a little jealousy, or they showed that they were upset that you couldn't come. So that I definitely don't want to put myself around that. But even more so just accepting, like, hey, don't worry about texting them about the event. Send it to someone else. Send it to the lady you just met at the store. Send it to the person you just ran into at the class you're taking, or whatever it is, and just learning to, like, accept the difference between family, friends, and customers, clients, investors, potential angel investors, or whatever it is. They're completely separate. This is my family. This is my friends. They're going to support me. These are my clients and my clientele, and they're going to grow my business. Right. So
they're going to grow you,
seeing the difference between those two.
Okay, so we were just talking about, you know, family and friends, or people who might not, you know, you're talking about like the people who you're going to have from the beginning of your business to the next phase into your business and stuff like that, right?
Different people.
Right. And you're right. I love it because it's funny, man. Different industries, I hear that all the time. And that's the advice that I tell people too. Just understand that when you first start off, and then when you're at the point where you say you're super established, you'll notice is most likely a very different set of people. Huge different set of people. Another thing I want to ask you is, in terms of you personally, what are some of the things that what's something that you feel like for a lot of folks, they don't get, that if they did understand this, it would make a complete difference in their life for what they want?
Oh man, writing things down. Like, people think it's so simple. Yeah. It's so simple, and you've probably heard it at any workshop or personal development or school, right? Write down notes, take notes so they can memorize things and then take a test later. You have to write it down. The test is what? You're trying to succeed. Are you gonna succeed? That's the question. Well, if you don't have notes written down, then how are you gonna pass that test? Right. Write that one down. That's a good one. But I don't think people realize, they don't get it. Like, it's just that simple. Write it out. In 2019, I want to accomplish this. In January, I want to accomplish this. This week, I want to accomplish this. Today, I want to accomplish this. It works. Like, it's one of those things where it's super cliche, but it works. So I don't think people understand how simple success actually can be. It's really that easy, because you're starting with getting through today, getting through the week, getting through the month, getting through the year. You have to write it down. There's been times where I've gone back and looked at journals from college. Maybe in between classes, I was kind of, you know, daydreaming and writing, I would love for this to happen, or, you know, next semester, right? Even just thinking about the classes I'm taking now and the classes I want to take in the spring, and just starting to, like, visualize it and think about it. But writing it down, it's that simple. I saw this quote one time that said, words are like casting spells. That's why we call it spelling, right? So when you write something out, like, you're casting that out into abracadabra, I'm going to make this happen. So you spell it out. I've never heard it said like that. Yeah. You spell it out, and it's just that simple. I think people overthink it. I have to go to these 15 workshops. I got to get 10 investors. I have to find the property. I need to do this, and that. I have to. Gary Vee, as much as I like his message, his thing is hustle your face off. I have to hustle my face off. I got to work 55 hours a day. Like, Did you write it down though? Did you even write down what you're hoping to accomplish? Start with that. And then, yes, go to the workshops and go to the things, but don't go to all the things without putting the end result. It's like making a contract with yourself.
Yeah. And I think too, writing something down, it completely puts you in the present moment. Mm-hmm. Because you really do have to be in a present moment in order to consciously write something like that down. And being in that present moment, I believe, aids in I think it does facilitate the creation process. Like whatever you're trying to accomplish, it really does facilitate that. Was there a point though that I never thought about it.
It's not mine. I don't know who said that, but you're amazing, whoever said that.
So was there a point in time that you weren't doing that and then you shifted?
No, I didn't. I learned about goal setting probably when I was 20 years old. My aunt, who's a real estate broker, she taught me about 5-year goals. She's like, Kiola, I was working for her in her office, and in between, like at school, my college career was very up and down. I was like in school, not in school. Wanted to be a broker, wanted to be a teacher, wanted to be an accountant. It's changed. And so I think she saw that I was just kind of all over the place. And she's like, what are your 5-year goals? And I'm like, I'm 19. Turn 21, go to Las Vegas, have a boyfriend, whatever it was.
Sounds about right.
At 19, I was like, I don't know. I'm just trying to, get through the day. Make sure I have enough gas to get from here back to Fullerton or whatever it was. And she's like, you got to write down, think like 5 years. Right. And every maybe 2.5 years, go back and review those and readjust those. So that I actually still have that journal, which is such a trip. Now I'm going to have to go home and look at it.
You got to check it out.
Now I got to check it out. But yeah, I didn't know about this like my whole life. And I think I was always driven and I always knew in my mind what I wanted to do, but I wasn't writing it out. And once I started doing that, literally, sounds like so corny, but it changed my life. It really did. And to go back and to be able to look and say, okay, 5 years, this is what I want to accomplish. And because I was in school at the time, it started to be like just passing certain classes and getting this done. And then, okay, by this year, I need to be walking across the stage. By this year, I need to be, buying a condo, applying for grad school, and hopefully opening a studio. And when you go back and you look at those things, that's when I think you understand the whole spelling it out, right? Like you're casting that spell onto your life to look back and like check it off. You're like, okay, this could actually work. I can do this. But no, I wasn't doing that all the time. And when I wasn't, that's when I was kind of
all over the place.
All over the place. Because there are 18-year-olds that are super focused and maybe learn that in school or from their parents. Sure. But I didn't learn that until later on. Yeah. And it was a complete game changer. Wow. For sure.
Yeah, I've read in a lot of places over the years about that, about writing something down, the difference. Like, and they said that there's some statistics that over, the people that achieve a lot of goals, they're 80% more likely to achieve the goals if they write them down on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. It's like 84, 85%, something like that. And you're right. It is simple. It's so simple that you could take it for granted.
That's what people do.
And you sleep on that, and I admit, I do that from time to time. I have to prompt myself over and over again, dude, write it down. Cause I do have a journal, but it's the consistency of writing in the journal. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll be honest.
Oh yeah. No, there's times I haven't written anything down or, I can go back and then look at the times and see like, oh, that's when I was feeling the best and doing the most things. And then that little dip in time where I was like, oh, okay, I'm coasting, I'm good. It's just, we can collect a little dust and I'll go back to it. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I need to make sure that even if it's not daily, at least at the beginning of the month, write down what you want to accomplish that month. If you can even start with just that. But you will notice a difference of the times where you stop and you're just trying to ride that wave. You're going to get into the shore at some point and then you're just be sitting on the sand like, okay, you need to go jump back in and then start that whole process all over again. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely not perfect at it. And I think if anyone claims that they are and they do, our Tony Robbins and our Gary V's, I journal every day. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right,
there's a couple days in there you didn't do it. And yes, they're huge successes. So maybe they have turned it into such a great habit that they're more consistent than the average person. But until you get to that place, there's times where you go up and down, I think.
Yeah. Wow. That's that's big. That's big. And you're right. The times that I do it, and I do it often, the times what I notice, what I feel is I'm just more present to what I gotta do.
Right. It's like your grocery list, your laundry list. It's your to-do.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It is. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So, but you're also, now let's apply this though in the realm of lifestyle, fitness and healthy lifestyle, because that's your thing. That's your expertise, right? So how would you say this relates inside of that?
Goal setting?
Mm-hmm. Write it down. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
What do you tell your clients?
Well, they have a whole packet of information, big long questionnaire, which they're often surprised by. I think people's experience with trainers or gyms, it's completely different than what we do at Kinetic because it is a whole lifestyle package. So they do their orientation and we give them this packet, 15 pages of paper, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I need to know, what do you want?
Right.
And I need you to really think about it. Don't just I want to lose weight and I want to get my legs tight. I want my abs flat. Okay, cool. I'm like, oh, no way. You're the first person that said that. Why? Why do you want to lose weight?
Right.
What does look better, feel better mean to you? And then they start thinking, and then they've written it down there. So then past just the nutrition part, then they're writing down their physical goal or fitness goal. They're writing down their lifestyle goal, and they're writing down a financial goal. Again, we're probably the only gym and fitness trainer that's asking you to write down a financial goal for 3, 6, and 12 months. So they have those 3 categories, and then they have 3, 6, and 12 months in each one of those categories to start setting out goals. Writing things down food-wise, food journal. I want to know what you're eating every day for at least a week.
Right.
I want to see what it is that your routine is. Then you're going to start to check in and ooh, did I really need to have those 6 donuts? Maybe not. So let me change that to something else. That goes into thinking about, do I need to spend 5 hours working on my Instagram page, or could I hire someone to do that?
Absolutely.
So it's that you start to see what your patterns are, and even you think that's what you want. You start working towards it, and then you're like, actually, I don't want to lose 15 pounds. I just want to exercise every day. Because I thought it was weight loss I wanted, but what I really wanted was just stay active. And so you can start to see the shift in what you thought you wanted and what you really wanted. So we use goal setting is everything in fitness.
Right.
Besides just get through the class, do these 50 burpees or whatever it is, or get through the week and make sure I'm staying on top of my macros. It's a reflection, and it's just that putting out there, this is what I hope I'm going to get, and this is all the steps these are the steps it took to get there, and here's where I kind of scratched it out and reconfigured it. So you got to write it down. People don't realize that that's what they're going to do on their first session there, is spend so much time writing out everything. What do you want from me as a coach? What do you expect from me? What do you expect from this process? So it's a lot of pen and paper or pencil, whatever you have, marker, get it on the paper.
Yeah, actually write it.
You have to, because then they're connected, and they wrote down, I want to lose 15 pounds. I want to spend more time with my family, and I want to pay off a credit card. And then I have that. I'm keeping that. I'm kind of the accountability person. I'm keeping that. And then in 2 weeks, you come back and we check back. Okay, so this is what you wrote down. And because I'm not writing it down for them, you wrote that down. That's what you said you wanted. So what's up with that? Now they're connected. They can sign it. So sign your name. And I think that's something too. That's one little, I guess, tip I can give, is that when you do write things out, like a year or 6 month, 12 month, whatever goal it is, sign it. You're the CEO.
Place to sign it. Yeah.
I'm agreeing that I'm going to accomplish this.
Right.
I also just like the way my signature looks.
As you should, since you practice it, right?
Too,
you got a choice to do that, so you better.
Yeah.
I just thought about something when it comes to people in fitness, health. We know that a big issue that affects people is the mental, especially when it comes to, let's just say, the things that I would consider, I call them blind spots that people have that cause them to either, let's just say, eat too much, right, unknowingly, or refrain from, or sabotage themselves. How about that? Or sabotage themselves. Like, what do you see that is quite common when you're dealing with, your clients in terms of that? Yeah. So I know for me, it's emotionally eating for a lot of people.
Yeah, they either have like the lack of confidence, the lack of knowledge, or they don't realize that it's nothing to do with food and it's everything to do with stress, a relationship, maybe fear of failing, and then just give up right away. I actually had a client recently tell me, you know what, Coach K, you should just give up on me because I was like, oh, okay. This is good. Right. That's exactly what I'm going to just give up on you. Because that had been her experience in the past with herself. She would go for a week or go for 2 weeks and do great. And then that one little day, just one day, and maybe felt like she failed that one day and decided, I'm done. I'm just going to give up. I consider that self-sabotage. But the other thing, I think people just don't know that you don't have to cut entire food groups out. And it's okay if you had a drink. It's okay if you had a slice of birthday cake at someone's, party or whatever it was. They don't know that you just bounce right back. My coach used to tell us all the time, holidays are just one day. Like Thanksgiving is one day. It's one day, and it's really, unless you're like me and you house hop, because I don't really cook.
House hopping, let's go.
Then it's one meal, right? So it's one day, it's one meal. What does that? How does that have to ruin all your goals? For the next day, I have to have leftovers, and the next 2 days, and all the way till Christmas, you just gave up on. So I think we don't understand what the real cycle to life, to fitness. It doesn't have to be every day, 24/7. You eat the same thing all day, every day. You get up and you train at the exact same time. That's great for an athlete. That's great for a competitor. But for the average everyday person, you can have a little bit of up and down in your routine. You can have a little bit of up and down in your diet, in the type of workouts that you do. People just don't know. They don't know that there's options out there. And they see a picture, and as much as I love social media, they look on social media and they're like, well, this girl's doing this and that. And
it's tough,
you didn't realize that she had 16 lights on her. She's covered in baby oil. She hasn't eaten for 5 days. And that's why she looks like that. Or they're an ex-athlete. They've been training like that since high school. Are you going to do that? No. So don't compare yourself to that. So we're comparing, we're unaware, we have a lack of knowledge, and then we don't understand it's a cycle.
Right.
It's a cycle. So just keep on moving. You're better off doing your okay routine consistently than the best routine for 3 weeks. So you have to understand. You just got to get the right knowledge. Hire someone that's going to give you the information. Yeah. Like me.
Plug. Hit the plug right now. No, that was perfect. Great. Wow. I love that you say that, because this is what I always tell people. I still work shifts in the hospital, and I'm an emergency room nurse. And so, the hospital, man, I'll tell you right now, it's one of the worst places to try. Like, if you want to be healthy, God, oh my God.
Really? I'm actually thinking about going back to nursing, to school for nursing.
Okay.
I want another degree or 2.
Hey, just go for it. Whatever you want to do.
As well. And I hear there's not enough Black nurses, also educators.
I agree.
So to be back in the classroom. So because there's so many opportunities.
I agree.
You can go here and there. You can do your own practice. You can do anesthesiology with nursing. You can go dermatologist. You can work in it. One lady was like, you can do Botox injections.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
It's very flexible, I'll tell you that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sure. And just know,
unhealthy at the hospital?
Yeah, if you end up working in a hospital, like in any of the units or anything like that, man, it's terrible. It's terrible because it's like the staff there, they take pride in eating whatever they want to eat. But they'll complain, they'll complain about, oh, I look like this, or I want to look like this.
Right.
But they'll keep doing what they're doing. And the reason why I say that is because, for people, sometimes they have cookies, I go ahead and grab a cookie or 2. When they have cake, I go ahead and have a piece of cake. And they're like, Val, man, I'm just seeing you in here just grabbing this and grabbing that. And I'm telling them, I say, that's because when you live a lifestyle, you make what we do here a lifestyle. It's not about being cold turkey 100% of the time. It's more of an overall over time. What are you doing in the majority of the time over time? To me, I found in my experience, and this is what I teach folks too, is that's what will dictate the results you get. What are you doing the majority of the time over time? So that small minority, live your life.
Right.
Live your life. So I'm just glad that you said that.
Yeah, it goes right along with that. What you're doing, you're okay, you're 85%, 100% of the time versus 100%, 10% of the time. And then the other 90%, you're like just 15. So which one's going to get you further? I'm consistently going up this way, and you're like,
yeah.
And then from down there, you're like only right here. I'm still way up here because I've consistently stayed at 85%. You're doing these spikes. You might catch up with me, and then you decide. So again, I'm still up here, and you're not going to catch up. That's a great way to put that. You know, got to do those hand.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Visuals.
Yeah, no, this is great. So this has been great. So in closing, what would you say? I'd like for you to give a nice parting piece of advice for the people watching this who've gotten something from this.
Ooh,
advice.
My advice is believe in yourself and be okay with who you are, right? So people who are leaders, visionaries, we are tough. And sometimes that can be perceived as rude or mean, and you have good intentions, you have this big heart, and you see this thing. I want to give this to the world. You don't want people to really get in your way. Be okay with that. It goes back to being okay with, like, your family might not be at everything that you do. Your friends might not be at everything that you do. As long as you're not being a malicious person and you're, operating from, like, you don't see it right now, but this is going to change the world. You have to accept that. So be okay with, hey, I'm myself. It is what it is. You might not understand it right now, but you're going to see that this is, this is going to be a big thing. And just accept that about yourself. And this year was my year of like, okay, people think I'm bossy. It's all right. I have to be that way. Otherwise, how am I going to get this business running or get this going or be asked to speak places if they're not like, oh, okay, she's, she's a tough person. She's well-spoken. You have to be, it's not being prideful, but it's about accepting yourself. So accept yourself and be yourself. So that's probably the most important. I think that's the best thing I've learned this year is just do you, be you, accept yourself.
And that's not hard. That's not easy to do.
It sounds easy.
Yeah, it's not easy to do.
It's like, it's easy to say that, but I'm still learning how to do, even today, little things come up and you're like, oh, how did they think that? And that's okay. That's what they think. That's not what I meant. But, it's okay because they're going to see, oh, that's why she didn't let me come teach this class because at the end of the week, this is going to, so you have to just sit back and say, okay, it's going to be fine, and accept that you're making the right decision.
Right.
As long as you're operating from your heart. Now, if you're trying to be shady and get over on people, then that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
But when you're passionate and you're a visionary, you're creating something, and you're a leader, then there's going to be times where you have to do a little tough love, but you have to sit back and know, like, okay, that's fine. So accept yourself, be yourself.
That's right.
Yep.
Awesome. And how do we find you online? You and your business. You
find me at kineticstudio.la, and our Instagram is Kinetic Studio LA, one word. So those are the best two places, and we love having visitors at the studio. So if you ever want to come take a class, and the best way to get into one of our classes is to download our app. So if you go into your app store and look up,
you have an app.
We got an app.
Listen,
we got an app. It's 2019 almost. So download the app, Kinetic Studio, in your Play Store, in your Apple iStore or App Store, and create an account. Come see us. You get a free 3-day pass. Try a couple classes for a couple days. And then awesome. What's the next thing we have coming up? January 19th, we have a live workshop. It's called Empower House. Amazing way to start your year off. So lots of people do vision boards, and we take that a little bit further into just the whole visioning process for the year.
Right.
So come check us out.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you for the stand that you are for people, for yourself.
Yes.
Right. And doing that because you understand that there's a greater good. You have to be a certain person the best you can be, because you understand what you're doing out there, and what you're doing for people. And I think that's a calling in itself that, man, that takes consistent effort, consistent effort. And I just appreciate that. I could see that.
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for that. This has been great. Appreciate you. Well done.
Thank you.